Susan and Friends, written by A Goodman, narrated by Alicia Vasquez. Copyright 2019 A Goodman. All rights reserved. No part of this book may be reproduced or transmitted in any form or by any means without written permission of the author. All characters in this book have no existence outside the imagination of the author and have no relation whatsoever to anyone with the same name, living or dead. All events are inventions by the author and no other individual. ISBN 978-109-0927156. Chapter 1. Three beautiful women living under the same roof with no husband or fiancé. Some of the town's women, not knowing the circumstances of the women, would talk among themselves, hinting that the monarch, Susan Applebaum, was into something with her two beautiful daughters, having house parties that last into the next day, not knowing that the three women work very hard in their own right. The sisters run a boutique, and their mother is a successful businesswoman. The monarch is the pet name given to her by her late husband. They were sweethearts from school days and got married at an early age. Unfortunately, he died when his car ran off the slippery road on his way home from work. According to the pathologist's report, there was no alcohol in his system at the time of death. Speed and the slippery wet road was given as the cause of death. He lost control, crashed through the safety barrier, and plunged into the ravine. Susan never knew the reason he gave her that name. Since that time, the name has stuck to her, and everyone refers to her as the monarch. Susan didn't believe the findings of the police report and hired a private detective to find out the truth. She knew her husband was an excellent driver and had driven along that road for many years, through windy and rainy conditions, and always made it home. After 3 weeks, the investigator visited Susan and gave her his findings. Stanley had went to the scrapyard where her husband's car was kept, after the police report was final. Upon inspection of the brake fluid reservoir, the private detective found it to be empty. He looked under the vehicle, inspected the line, and found a tiny hole. He then visited the underground garage where her husband had parked his car. On that day, looking at the pictures taken by the police where the vehicle was, some kind of splash pattern was visible. The private eye concluded that someone drilled a small hole in the brake line and used something to catch the fluid as it drips from the car, leaving no oil puddle on the ground. The information devastated her. It also filled her with hatred and vengeance, and she told the PI to continue working and see what more information he can uncover. After that, Susan decided she had to find the person or persons responsible for the death of her husband. That's when she came up with the idea of having the parties, hoping someone from Harry's workplace would mention something to her or the daughters about that fatal day. The daughters were born 2 years apart, but to see them together, anyone would think they were twins. The only noticeable difference is the hair. Nadia has jet black hair. Jacqueline's hair is auburn. Whenever the monarch is giving a party, to get an invitation, you had to know someone who is a friend of the family. Some of the men would go to these parties and leave their wives or girlfriends at home, with the same lame excuse about a business meeting, or whatever they think would be appropriate. Susan Applebaum, a dangerous, seductive woman with green eyes, full luscious lips, long blonde hair, tan skin, and a curvaceous body. At her age, when the monarch enters a room, she still makes the men gape in awe. Their jaws drop with tongues hanging out. She had invested the money left to her by her late husband wisely. The shares her husband had in the company he worked for had been passed on to her. Investment in real estate, small businesses, and sitting on the board of a few large corporations give her a decent yearly income. She always insists her number one priority is finding who is responsible for the death of her one true love. Nadia and Jacqueline opened a clothing boutique in a nearby city with a staff of 3 others, one male named Jason Robertson and 2 girlfriends from high school days, Tanya Rogers, Lydia Dawns. The tight-knit group kept coming up with new ideas about designs, drafting them, and making their clothing line. Still, the rumors would spread around town about
Sample complete. Ready to continue?